Gotta win, I know that you gotta win. Determination and it's taking discipline. Ain't no getting stuck, don't let nothing hold you back. Show up, serve, and succeed is the mindset. Go, it's time to live a life more fulfilled. The Tim Madden Show, let's go.
How is everyone doing today? I hope you're well. Let me make sure I'm live because this is the first episode the Tim Madden Show. And hey, we're going to stream it to We Are Live. We are good to go. Hey, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're watching the Tim Madden Show, you probably already know a little bit about me. But hey, the goal of this show was just to show you, right, essentially what I have done to be successful, the hard times, the good times, how I've pushed through it. And I needed another outlet because for those of you that typically follow me, we do the Executive Career Upgrades podcast every single week with my wife, Christina Madden, talking about all things career. But I wanted to do something a little different, right? There are multiple things that I wanted to talk about that do not fall under, right, just your career. They fall under business. They fall under fitness. They fall under mindset. So on episode 1, I'm going to be sharing you kind of a behind the scenes of many things that you probably do not know about me. And the mantra of this show is 3 parts, right? I'm just going to tell you, regardless of what's going on in your life right now, right? Because if you think you're the only one going through hard times, you are sorely mistaken, okay? Don't care how much money you have. Don't care, how your business is doing, how your career is doing. I know right now, right? You are struggling with something in your life. If you're not, please email me at tim@execupgrades.com and tell me your life is perfect. I tell my wife this all the time, and I say, hey, it's always going to be something, right? It's always going to be something, okay? There is, once you overcome something, you're going to look up and you're going to see another hill, another mountain that you have to climb, right? So just know that in your life, if you're struggling with something, that when you get past it, right, you're on to your next trial and tribulation. So let's get started with some background on me. Hey, so I was born in 1983 in Phoenix, Arizona. I love Phoenix. Phoenix was awesome, right? So a couple things. My biological father, right, he was never around, right? So if you have struggled with not, having some family issues, I am with you, right? I have been there. So my biological father was actually in prison the majority of his life, right? Hell's Angels, bikers, made a lot of bad decisions and was actually killed by the New Mexico Police Department around 3 or 4 years ago when he got out of prison, right? So very tough to deal with, right? Kind of not, whether or not like I have a dad, right? I was very fortunate, if my dad ever watches, because I know he's on Facebook, right? To, have good parents that always cared about me. So I did, let me say, not my whole life. I'd say for about half my life, I had a father figure, right? And I know the important impact that has on your life if you don't have one of those, if you don't have kind of a role model to look up to. And fortunately, when my mom remarried, right, he was a military guy. So for those of you who kind of know me, you know that I did 10 years on active duty for the U.S. Army, and I've served another 12 years in the National Guard, now being still a member of the Florida National Guard, getting on the promotion list for my next rank. So lots of cool stuff throughout these episodes, talking about, just a bunch of crazy stories in the military. I know you're going to love them. But back to that father figure, right? I only had that when I was young because my mom and, stepfather, who is my dad, right, broke up maybe when I was in 7th or 8th grade. And we moved so the journey was Phoenix. My dad was stationed there. It must have been till I was 7 or 8. And then he moved over to, where did he move to after that? It was Oklahoma, Fort Sill, Oklahoma, where my dad was a drill sergeant. Funny story here, right? when we were younger, we'd always have to do push-ups, and I kind of never knew why. I knew my dad was in the military, but when I actually graduated basic training in 2001, right before the towers fell, then I remembered when my dad showed up and he had his drill sergeant badge on, of all of the times I had to, stand up against the wall, do push-ups, and do all that other crazy stuff. So, it's tough growing up when you don't have, that mother and father figure throughout the entirety of your life, right? And I know many people struggle with that. Then we decided to move when they split up to a town in northern Minnesota where it was cold up there, man. And I still have friends that live up there. So, hey, if I went to high school with you, DM me if we haven't reconnected in a little bit. And then I went to join the military, where I deployed on the first deployment, right, over to Iraq in 2003 during the start of the war, being 18 years old. I know many of you who will listen to this later, right, if you're in the military, that was a very difficult time, right? When I graduated my job training, right, it was when the towers fell. I remember my instructor, because I was the class leader for an engineering school there in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. The class leader came in, and, back then it was a different military. You were scared of your instructors, scared of, people that were above you in rank. And he says, look what just happened. And I remember, I'll never forget that day where they said, hey, get ready. The base was on lockdown. Lots of crazy times in the world during that time. And so we went to Iraq, right? During that time, I will never forget showing up with one of my good friends from high school, Mr. Sean Zupke. Sean, we got off the plane for Iraq. They put us in holding tents, 18 years old at the time. And what'd they say? You are hereby authorized to take this many rounds, right? This many frag grenades and this and this and this. According to Geneva Conventions, good luck. Oh, and by the way, there is probably an imminent chemical warfare happening. So make sure you always have your protective gear. Like, what is going on, right? Then we were only supposed to be in country in Iraq for 12 months. But what happened? You could probably already guess, right? We got extended. So the first deployment there was 15 months. 15 months. Craziness. I'll speed up through my military training because I'll talk about this in other episodes. Then I went on to be in military intelligence, in recruiting and retention, then over to being a field artillery officer, which I am extremely proud of. If you're a red leg, hey, I appreciate you. During the time of many years of military service, I was probably a 7-year senior before I got my bachelor's degree. And it was difficult, right? But my family, right, most of my family, actually on my mother's side, I'm pretty sure I'm the only one who has a bachelor's degree. I think, if I might be wrong. On my dad's side too, I'm not sure. But I don't know anyone who has a bachelor's degree, and I went on to get my advanced degree. Hey, it wasn't easy. And that's where I think most people struggle, right? The hardest thing to do with anything in life, whether it's trying to complete your degree, trying to get on a fitness program, trying to save money, trying to train your people, trying to start a bit, no matter what it is, the hardest thing to do, and the purpose I wanted to actually do this show, is you have to show up. You have to show up every single day. When you don't want to get up anyway. Okay. When you don't want to do the thing anyway. And that's really what I've attributed most of my success to, because if you fast forward in 2022, we're approaching the end of 2022 right now. Christina and I built a very large, successful B2B company, an extremely successful B2C company, and, a software organization as well. Okay. But it's been a very long journey to get here before Tim Madden had the ClickFunnels Award, which I'll bring in one day and talk about how I got that. Top 100 magazine, contributors, etc., speaking engagement at big companies. Hey, it's been a long journey to get here. And if that's your career aspirations, it's going to be a long journey for you too. There is no overnight success. I wish there was. There is not. Okay. But one of the main things I've attested to, right, as I've developed throughout many years and made many mistakes, has just been every single day show up. Okay. People think success looks like just a straight line that's progressively moving up. That is not what success looks like. Success looks like setback, up and a setback, up and a setback, up and a setback. And the better you're able to push through those setbacks, the better your quality of life is going to be. And for anyone struggling right now with, they know they need to do something, right? They know they need to get in shape. They want to be healthier, whatever it is. They want to have a better job. They want to start their own business. Let me share a quote from Tony Robbins. I know it'll resonate with you. Most things that are going to give you the greatest reward, okay, are going to require discomfort initially. Let me go ahead and repeat that. Okay, let's back up. Most things that are going to give you the greatest reward are going to require discomfort initially. Amen, Tony Robbins. Part 2 of the quote. There's 2 pains in life. The pain of discipline or the pain of regret. And there's a third part too that I'll get to in a sec. But let's talk about this for a sec. The pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Okay, I'm training for a mini marathon right now. Today, I've never once in my life, even after being in the military for 22 years, have I ran 7 miles at one time. I did not want to run 7 miles today, right? But here's the reality, because I know a lot of other people that are going to watch and listen to this podcast, right, are going to know that, you know, it's difficult. Okay. And one of the major reasons why I completed the 75 Hard program, which again, we'll talk about on another episode, but you can go to 75hard.com and check it out. It's an intense mental toughness training for 75 days that I completed, a couple months ago, which really primed me to say, hey, all of my life, my fitness journey has been up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. But what I've done really good at throughout my life is when I have a target, right, that I'm unreasonable with myself. So right after that challenge, I said, hey, I know I'm going to fall off the wagon again, and I put in all this work. What's the next challenge? So next year, my challenges are half marathon in Florida, January 7th, full marathon in April, right, at the end of April or early May. I still got to find one, and to do a half Ironman. Because I can tell you, for people that are dealing with something in their life, or they're going through frustration or discipline and anxiety, which I have battled with my whole freaking life, because just life by nature is stressful, is I needed an outlet for that, right? So if you're watching this, my best advice to you is, if you're going through something difficult in your life right now, here's what I, hope you do. I hope you can put up the alcohol for a little bit. I hope that you can get out and move your body in the morning and eat some good food and inject some positive information. Right now, I'm actually reading a book by Sean Webb. I highly recommend it. It says Mind Hacking Happiness, Volume 1 and 2. I'm on Volume 2 right now. Those are great reads. But if you expect to have a good life without showing up every day when you don't want to, okay, and when you're dealing through those tough times, not taking care of yourself, it's going to be very, very hard for you to be successful. Because to be successful, you need to have energy, you need to have confidence, and you need to feel good. Okay? And if you aren't keeping the promises to yourself, which Ed Milet says, if you don't keep promises to yourself, you're not going to build self-confidence. So if you can't keep those promises to yourself of, I want to do better, how are you ever going to be successful? All right, I went off on too much of a tangent. So starting out after I transitioned from the military, okay, in 2010, something like that, that began my business journey. So here I was thinking, and I know, again, lots of military people are going to relate with this. I was one of the top recruiters in the nation. If you're watching live right now, I got my little recruiter ring on. I lost my train of thought for a sec. Oh yeah, starting out. Okay. I tried to get a job, which is why I own now businesses that help people get jobs, because it was so tough for me when I got out of the military. It was so freaking tough. I was applying for jobs. I was trying to do everything that you normally would think that would land you a job, and I could not find one. I've actually never told this story before on camera, right? I could not find one. One of the top recruiters during my time, bachelor's degree at the time, successful military career. I couldn't even get an interview. The one interview I went on, do you know what they said to me? How much did you make in the military, Tim? I said, I pulled about 70K. Wow, I can't believe we pay you guys that much. And that owner of the company was serious. Imagine how that affected me at the time. Like, man, right? Craziness. And fortunately, eventually, after about 12 months battling corporate America, I finally got a job as a director level of recruitment for a mid-sized company. And you want to know the crazy thing? Out of 300 people at the time, I was the only military veteran. And during my first year, even though I was able to totally transform my region, right? Even though that my first banquet, when I reconnected with the CEO and the principal, right? Do you know what they said? We had so much hesitation on you. A year later, still skeptical. Very, very difficult. Then I chose that I needed more of a challenge, right? And I went to work for the largest recruiting company in the world, doing executive style placements. Then went there and I do what most entrepreneurs do, right? I went there. I knew how to get deals. I knew what the contracts needed to look like. I knew everything about the staffing and recruiting agency, which is then why I decided to start my own staffing and recruiting firm, which is just a great story. Lots of difficult times, right? I feel like the universe is just going to push you all the time out of your comfort zone. That's again why I talk about the importance of just showing up daily, regardless of how you feel or regardless of all of the internal or external factors. I assure you it will serve you well, okay? But if you don't like setbacks, if you don't like trying to push through stressful situations, how are you ever going to be great? And I don't know who you're doing it for, right? I don't know if you would, try to be better for yourself, try to be better for your family, try to do better because you want more money or whatever. But here's what I know. If you aren't showing it up, let's not even say giving your best, right? If you're just not showing up every day, right? You're going to have a difficult life. You just are going to have a difficult life. And so many people overthink everything, just like I did. You don't think I was so freaking scared when I started my first business, even though I kind of knew how to do everything that I needed to do? I got all wrapped up in, by the way, we're holding an event tomorrow talking about how I've actually started all these businesses. But you don't think I had all of these things in my head? These things like, what does my logo need to look like? What CRM says? Like, so many people overthink everything. Overthink freaking everything every day. They're like, well, I want to start working out, but I just don't know where to start. I just don't know what shoes to buy. I just don't know the training program. I just don't know the nutrition. Like, man, why are you making this so difficult for yourself? When you give people 27 options, right? They're going to confuse themselves. So my best advice to you, right, for the fitness journey, if you're still on one, right, is, hey, just get some decent running shoes and just go out and start walking, right? You don't need equipment. You don't need no huge fancy gym membership. Everyone knows how to move their feet and run. Everyone knows how to do a push-up. Everyone knows how to do a sit-up. Most people struggle just with making a commitment, showing up, and then figuring it out as they show up. But everyone wants the freaking blueprint before they start everything, which is how nothing, which is why so many people overthink it. They say, well, I don't know what shoes. Let me do research for 2 weeks. Well, let me get on the best training program. Hey, do you think I'll lose weight on paleo? Hey, do you think I'll lose weight on keto? Do you think I'll lose weight predominantly eating meat or just vegetable? Hey, you will lose weight doing all of those options. Yeah, but they want to have the best one. If that's you and you overthink everything, probably not out to be an entrepreneur, probably not meant to be an exceptional leader inside corporate America, right? Everyone's looking for just the perfect storm where like all the stars align. It's never going to happen, ever. So again, my advice to you is just get started. I know there's a lot of people who are probably working in corporate America right now saying, man, I could do this better. I could do this better. My boss isn't smart. I could do this. I could do this, right? But they'll continue to stay there yakking for 3 years, right? So what are you going to do about it? If you know you can do something better, why don't you go out and do it better? Why don't you go work for a different organization? The worst thing you can do is just talk about something for months and months and months. Obviously, being an entrepreneur, lots of my friends get a hold of me trying to start a business, right? Well, there's people I've been talking to for 4 years, ladies and gentlemen. Man, I want to start a business. I want to start a business. And you've been talking about it for 4 years, right? So this was my just quick intro on episode 1 to say, here's where I was born. Here's what I've accomplished. Here's some of the, we'll get into the hard times and good times on next episode. And we actually have a couple just phenomenal special guests for you that I'm super excited for you to meet. But hey, I am just a normal person, okay, with a normal life, normal upbringing. My parents absolutely, were not rich, probably not even, middle class, what you would assume middle class, probably lower middle class. So I'm just an average person who has been able to push through and create what I think is a, phenomenal life, right? I dig my life right now. And I hope that you already dig your life, like your life, love your life. And if not, hey, what's missing, right? Hopefully that's what I can unlock for you in these next episodes. What is it for you? What's missing in your life right now? What's something that you know you need to do, but you haven't done yet? Why haven't you done it? Probably one of the most important questions you could ask of your life is what is my ideal situation? So many people come to me, talk to thousands of people about this, specifically for their career, right? What is your ideal life? What is your ideal situation? Where do you want to live? How much money do you want to make? What kind of relationship do you want to have? What kind of a relationship do you want to have with your kids, with your friends, inside the community, with their church, if that's your cup of tea, right? But so many people say, I'm lost. I'm depressed. I just don't know what to do. Well, number one is you need to define what is a good life for you. What is a good life for you? Not everyone needs a bunch of money. Not everyone wants to live in Florida. Some people want to live where it's cold in the woods. And hey, if that's your jam, then go do it. But I would highly encourage you that I know where I'm going because I've mapped it out. Where are you going? Do you have a plan? Do you have a purpose? Or are you just sitting here every day hoping good things are going to happen to you? Because I tried that for many years, and guess what? It never worked out. So to have a successful life, besides just showing up, you have to have a plan, right? So what is a plan and what is a happy life to you? That is what I'm going to leave you with. And I would encourage you to get as specific as you can about money, finances, relationships, spirituality, fitness, etc. We are only here for so long, right? And so many people live with regret. I don't want to be 80 years old one day looking back saying, oh man, I wish I'd have done that. 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 Who wants to live a life like that? So to combat that, you need to know where you're going, and don't worry about the whole plan right now. Don't worry about how you're going to buy X house, move here, have these. Don't worry about all that. Just start saying, where am I trying to go? Hey, do you own a business? How much money, how much revenue do you want to do? How many clients do you want to help? Do you want to get better at fitness, right? Do you want to look a certain way, etc.? Where is that? Are you keeping your attention on that every day? Or are you letting the whole world take you away from thinking about where you're trying to go? Most people struggle in the idea. They don't even know what a good situation looks like to them because it's different for everyone that's going to listen to this podcast. What is your ideal situation? Write it down. Become obsessed with having a good life. And then as you're showing up every single day, you will figure it out. I assure you. You know, the crazy thing, I was reading from some Harvard white paper that said, talking about getting results in your life and maybe obtaining your ideal situation, 77% of actually achieving desired result is number one, just making a commitment, knowing where you're going and making a commitment. The plan was like less than 20%. It's pretty interesting, huh? Hey everyone, I hoped on this first episode you learned a little bit about me, a little bit about what I've been through and some hard times. But I assure you, we have some tremendously inspiring and funny episodes coming up. Going to do a couple of these shows every single week and have some special guests. So definitely stay tuned. And until next time, hey, keep showing up every day. Keep showing up to achieve your goals and follow along as I'm achieving my goals to give you some aspirations of possibly how you can achieve yours. Have a great day, everyone.